So I've spoken in several of my previous podcasts about my fascination with collecting sports and trading cards. I affectionately refer to my collection as the Courier collection, and I'm going to explain a little bit for the uninitiated. For everybody who knows me in the North Shore, my family, my friends, my colleagues, DRHS alumni, Jacket River School, Nash Creek School. It was big in the 1970s in the era I grew up in for young boys and young girls to collect all kind of different cards of the series that were produced by Topps and Donruss. The non-sports cards would be Charlie's Angels, Star Wars, Starsky and Hutch, Dukes of Hazzard, whatever. But for the OPC and Topps, baseball was big, but not as big as hockey. Now, my first pack of cards I ever bought by myself was part of the first series of the 1972 Topps baseball set. But later on, I got into something at the Jacket River School, and which was big in that week as well, something called card flipping, which basically was you would buy a pack of cards and you would challenge each other to a game. You threw your cards up against a wall, ruining the corners, of course. And if your card throw touched the other card was thrown, or it could have been two cards or 10, you win all the cards that were thrown. Now, usually this is played with a group of four people, and how it worked in the mid 1970s, especially, you had a lot of rotten players from the Kansas City Scouts, California Golden Seals, all the lower teams who would get thrown, but people would collect the Boston and Montreal and the different original six team in Toronto as well. How it works, you get your pack. The players you want to keep, you put in the bottom, and the players you wanted to throw were at the top. We would get a potsy every once in a while who were throwing willy nilly Rangers, Boston, Montreal, Flyers, Toronto, which wouldn't happen very often. But card flipping is a lost art. You would never expect anybody in 2020 with all the card values to try card flipping. Now, was this gambling? According to one of the nuns who taught me school in Ash Creek, it was gambling. I don't think it was gambling. It's just a game. Pack of cards back in the day were between 15 and 25 cents for a normal pack. Wax pack had bubble gum, so like it was. You kept the sticker, or you kept the sports ring, like the cutout that would turn to a kind of a ring or a tattoo, and you chew the gum and you started the play. Now, I do remember, I think my first year in junior high, I won over 1,600 cards. I was quite good at it, but most of those cards are so damaged, and most of the cards are not considered, big stars. You would rarely see a Frank Mahavishtrone or a Paul Henderson or Davy Keon or Guy Fleur. It was always like Morris Mott or Peter McDuffie or some nondescript player, again from those lower squads. Yvon Labre, Guy Charon of the Capitals, they were very quite common. I think one year I won 15 Guy Charons. Uh, and because these card sets were only 396, there was a possibility of a lot of duplicates. Because, it was basically just fun. It's comparable to flipping nickels and quarters, but not the same thing because there was instant gratification because um, stacking your cards, and any time there you could say you had to play at least 3 rounds. We had rules. You had to play at least 3 rounds, and all bets are off. But after the third round, if you didn't want to play anymore, that was fine because we knew you were just getting rid of the cards you didn't want to have, and you know. But in 2020, maybe we should bring that back as a stress reliever. Take some really, really junk wax cards and boxes from the late 80s, early 90s, and try that with your child. Again, you're going to throw the cards against a wall, and your goal is to touch. The other card is always placed there with a corner or the side of the card. And after a while, it becomes almost like darts with a little bit of frisbee, like our good friend Rob McLeod and our the Brunswick Independent Officers Association. So again, card flipping, long pass. It's like putting old tops baseball cards in your bike to make the heavier sound. But I really miss it. And I think the last time I card flipped was in grade 8 in Jack River School, which was 1978. And and that was 42 years ago. I had just turned 12. But I think when Gretzky came along and the better players, especially like all the blue set at 79, 80, very few people were flipping cards anymore because that's when the card values went up when Gretzky arrived. But that's another podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, on this COVID day in Canada, we wish everybody good luck. A few more cases in northern New Brunswick. It's probably going to be 50 or 60 before it's done. By the way, we have rumors that certain merchants in the Beresford region are refusing service to citizens of Restigouche County. Don't know if this is true or not, but we're hearing a lot of rumors. If they are, well, all I can say is that if you think people's going to forget what you've done, you'd be quite surprised. I would suspect BNPP will not be getting any more business if these rumors are true because we gave the business for years, long before COVID, long before HIV, long before anything negative was going on in New Brunswick. It's kind of embarrassing because, as the North Shore, we should stand together, but I guess there's two North Shores, aren't they? North Shore, the Beldoon border, and North Shore, BNP batters, even though the family members and a lot of groups cross over. Again, I hope they're just a few locations. I don't think all the BNPP and batters is against the true North Shore, which is from Beldoon to Campbellton. But and why they call it the true North Shore? Because there's no allegations of refusing service to people from batters during the COVID first lift, as we say. Like I said, what goes around comes around, and people got long memories up North Shore. Have a good day. Bye.